Hey everyone, it is Tara here. We are jumping on our second new coach call for this month. Some of you won't have been on a call before. This might be your first call. That's okay. The first call is posted, so you can always go back and watch that one. But the things that I'm going to touch on today are things that some of you may have already been working on. Some of you may not have been working on them yet, but we are definitely going to touch on some of the things that are required in terms of pushing your business forward. I think someone was in the waiting room. There she is. Okay. So I think Shalene gave me this topic on purpose because I actually could talk about this stuff forever. But I'm really going to talk about how to launch your business and the things that are really important in terms of building your business from sort of the ground up. And when I do my new coach calls with my team, I always tell them, I'm going to teach you based on the things that I didn't do. I'm going to teach you based on the things that I thought were mistakes that I made. I know they weren't mistakes, it was just growth, but I'm going to teach you based on all of those things because I grew my business for 6 months without actually doing very much, and I didn't grow it as much as I could. So when I'm teaching my new coaches, I talk about all the things that I was too scared to do, all of the things that I thought were hard. And once I actually started doing those things, my business took off. So I want to talk about those things because I think they're a barrier for a lot of people. And I think you can sit on your business for a long time because you're too afraid, or maybe these aren't things that are comfortable for you. And that's the whole point of this, is to step outside your comfort zone, because in doing that, you're going to build confidence that you had no idea that you had. So some of these things, again, yes, they're uncomfortable, but in that discomfort, you are going to grow so much. So I would encourage you to kind of really dive in with these things. So first of all, when you are starting your business, one of the first things that you really want to know is, what are you inviting to? Because a lot of people are like, they start inviting, but they don't know what they're inviting to. Or your coaches are saying, well, you have to invite all these people. And you're like, well, I don't know what I'm inviting to. And that was my thing at first. I'm like, I don't know what I'm inviting to. Am I just inviting people to enroll with a challenge pack? I don't know what I'm inviting to. So I would encourage you to speak to your upline coach if you don't know what you are inviting to. Here are some things you can invite to, though. So you can invite to your coach's accountability group. So Jared and Shalene run their Stronger Together. I run my Fit Life accountability group. So you can invite to that accountability group. And a lot of times, your upline coach will be running a particular challenge. So I'm sort of doing a choose your path challenge right now, where it's MBF or MM100 or 10 rounds. Those are kind of the things that a lot of the people in my group are doing right now. So my coaches can invite to that choose your path challenge group. And then they can put their individuals that enroll with them into my accountability group. I know that Jared and Shalene do the same thing. I know that Danielle does the same thing with her crew. And I know that Kaylee does the same thing with her crew. So you always have that option. Here's what I'm going to tell you though. If you can, and when I say if, I'm really telling you this is what you should do, try and run your own accountability group as quickly as possible. Here's why. And I know Shalene touched on this, I think, in the last call, but it's what I did. I started and there was nobody, there were 5 people in my group and I was one of the 5. And the other 4 were my mom and my 3 coworkers. That was it in this group. Nobody posted, nobody did a sweaty selfie. It was just me in there. I was posting my sweaty selfie every day. I was doing a morning post, which, guys, I got from the back office. The back office has challenge group guides. So if you're going to run, let's say you want to do MBF and you want to invite people to join you to do MBF, there are challenge group guides for MBF in your back office under Grow Your Business or Grow My Business. You can use that and post. That can be your morning post every day. And if you want to jump in there at night and just throw a poll in there to say, vote, on your nutrition on a scale of 0 to 5. How was your nutrition? How was your workout? That kind of stuff. You can throw that in at night, but you don't have to. When I started, I didn't. I did 1 post a day. It was from the challenge group guides. Nobody else posted except for me. And I got super frustrated because I'm like, I'm looking at Jaron Shalene's group and everyone's posting. And I'm like, why is nobody posting in my group? I just had to stay consistent in there. And then it grew. And it slowly grew and grew and grew. And now I'm almost at 300 people in my accountability group. So you just have to stay the course. But everybody got to know me in my group. They got to know me as a coach. They got to know the way I did things. They got to trust me. They knew that I was there to support them. They knew that I was there for them, and they knew me. So over the course of time, if I saw people in that group that were posting a lot, that were sharing their journey, I'd approach them and say, I really want you to join me on this coaching journey. I would love for you to be a coach because you're already doing those things in the group. And so when I approached them, they trusted me because they knew me. They didn't know my upline. They didn't know, so they got to know who I was. So that's the importance of kind of running your own group as soon as you possibly can. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. You don't have to do 3 posts a day. That's not necessary. You just have to be there to support your crew, even if it's just 2 of you or 3 of you. So the sooner you do that, the better it is. But jump into your uplines group. If that takes you a month or 2 to see how things are run, absolutely do that. But as soon as you open your own up, you're going to develop that confidence. You're going to know the people in there. You're going to feel confident enough talking to those people. So I would encourage you to do that as quickly as possible. So I mentioned consistency. That's one thing that I've done from the beginning of this business that I can really say I'm proud of. I've shown up every day in some way, shape, or form in my group and for my clients every day from the day I started coaching. So I've been coaching a little over 2 years now. In my worst season, so some of you might know my story, some of you might not. I lost my brother last year. He was 28, and I lost him in the most heinous way, which I will not go into, but I showed up. I showed up in my group. And I cried through my workouts, and I didn't always share my videos like I do now. And I wasn't in my stories doing 20 stories a day, but I showed up for my group because they supported me as much as I supported them. I needed them as much as they needed me. So I didn't stop. I've shown up in my group on days where my vertigo has triggered and I haven't been able to do my workout, but I've popped into my group and said, guys, I had a vertigo episode, couldn't work out today, could barely get out of bed, but I'm going to check in on you guys. How you doing? Who's doing their workout? Get up and do it. So if you remain consistent in showing up, if you remain consistent in your inviting, and I'm going to get to inviting and I'll tell you what I mean when I say consistency in inviting. If you remain consistent in those times where things feel like your business is going, because it will, because it's a business and all businesses do that. If you just stay consistent, it's gonna go back up again. I promise you, I've been doing this long enough to see my business go like this. And there are some months where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. What was I thinking? If you just stay the course and you just stay consistent, it's gonna pay off in the long run. I promise you. And you'll see it. I promise you, it will pay off in the long run if you just don't quit, because you're going to hit that month where things are going to blow up and you're going to be like, thank God I didn't quit, because it just all blew up for me and it's great. Blow up in a good way, not in a bad way. So stay consistent, you guys. It's super important. It's the one thing that I have in my business that I can say I've done from the beginning that I wouldn't change that at all. Okay. How do we use social media? So when I say showing up consistently, we have a platform in social media that allows us to be able to show ourselves. And not necessarily in the way that you might think, not necessarily in the, I'm going to post my sweaty selfie and my workout video and that's it and we're going to go home. The thing that you have most in this business is your credibility and your relatability. Who are you? Because there are 400,000 coaches in this network. But something about you is going to resonate with other people more so than somebody else, right? So there might be busy mamas who have crazy careers and, you know, they're stressed out all the time and they're just looking for something that they can do that's super quick because they're always in and out and they need something. And they're in their 40s and they think that they can't do hard workouts. Well, I might resonate with them, but there might be stay-at-home moms who are bored out of their tree and just looking for something to do and looking for a community. Those people might resonate with Shalene, right? So there are so many different people in this world that resonate with different things, but you have to show who you are. Because if there are 400,000 coaches just showing their workout videos, how is anyone going to choose? You have to set yourself apart in some way in your social media. So how do you do that? I post once a day. I do a post a day, and it can be anything from today I posted about how I'm seeing all these people posting that their kids are going back to school, and I felt so bad because my daughter was crying in her room because all her friends were going back to school, and she's mad at us because she doesn't get to go back because she's in grade 8. This is her final year, and all of her friends are there, and she thinks that her friends are going to replace her with the new girl. And so I was feeling so bad today. Has nothing to do with fitness at all, but that post resonated with some people because there are other mamas out there that are feeling the same way that I was. So they're going to resonate with that. It might be, I'm talking about a challenge group. It might be, yesterday I posted that I had the worst possible day. And it was a funny quote because it just was like, I don't know how many moms or even dads, you hear mom 5,000 times and you're like, I'm changing my name to Joe because I just can't hear mom one more time. And that's what I posted about. So these are little things that I post about every day. And it helps, right? So it helps people relate to me, and that's what's important. Same thing with my stories. So I post the same thing. I do my stories in the morning, and it's me making my, I bet it's not dad in my house, Brian, let me tell you. It's always mom in my house. But in my stories, I do the same thing every morning. And people have come to know what my stories are every morning. And I just talk about who knows whatever I feel like talking about that morning while I'm making my Energize. I never call it my Energize. I always call it my Hustle Juice, because when you call it by the name of the product, sometimes people have a preconceived notion about it. So when you say Shakeology, or when you say Energize, or when you say Beachbody, some people already have a preconceived notion that it's some bad thing and it's some, network marketing scam. And I don't want people that to be their first impression, because it's not. So I don't want people to get that in their head before they really know what it's all about, and before they see me, this real person, doing it. So I get on and I make my Energize and I talk about whatever, just random stuff. But people have come to get used to that, and they come and they watch my stories. And I've had people say, I really love watching your stories in the morning. So they're getting to know me as a person. Then I'll post my workout video, and it's consistent every day. I post my workout video, and then I just post about my day, and it might include things about calls and what's important about the call and why do I love being on calls and about my business. And I kind of mix it up a little bit throughout the day. But again, people are getting to know me. They're getting to know why I love this business so much, why I love these workouts so much. And you never know, that might be sitting with somebody, and they might sit with it and sit with it and sit with it until they finally say, okay, what are you doing? Because I really want to know what you're doing, because you seem really happy, or you seem really together, or I don't understand how you fit this into your schedule, but I want to know how to do that, right? You just don't know who's watching. But if you're not showing up, how are you going to know, right? How are they going to know? You can't expect people to join you if they don't see what you're doing in some way, if you're not verbally talking to them about it, or you're not showing up in your social media. They've got to see it. If they don't see it, they're not going to want to join you, because what are they joining? They have no idea. So that's why it's important to show up, and you don't have to do 20 to 30 stories a day. Do what's comfortable. Show up and talk about things that you know. If you like dogs, show up in your stories with your dogs, or, with your kids, or whatever. That's okay. Start with what's comfortable. If you're not comfortable talking about the coaching opportunity in your stories right away, that's okay. Just get comfortable talking in your stories, and it'll all flow. It'll all kind of come into place eventually as you get more comfortable doing it. Because I was not comfortable doing it at first. I didn't, truth be told, have an Instagram account when I started coaching. Had no idea what a story was. Everyone's talking about these stories, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. When I go back and I look at my stories that I did when I first started, I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? They are so bad. But I've grown, and I'm way more comfortable talking in front of the camera. And you know what that's helped me with? It's helped me with my actual job as a lawyer, surprisingly, because you'd think I'd be comfortable talking in front of people as a lawyer. I'm way more comfortable now doing it. I'm more confident in myself in general. And I don't really care about people's opinions, which was something that was a massive problem for me initially. I cared what people thought. I cared what other lawyers were going to think. I cared if a judge was following me, what they were going to think. I cared what my dad was going to think. And when I let that go, it was like, oh my God, the weight that lifted off my shoulder was incredible, like incredible. And so the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get, and you're going to see changes in your life that are going to happen that just stem from stepping outside of your comfort zone and talking to people. And you're really not, you're talking to your phone. So you're really not talking to anybody, but so just, whatever works for you to help you kind of get over that fear. But once you do, it makes a huge difference, like a massive difference. Okay, so that's social media. Inviting, guys. So start with a number that you're comfortable with. So now we know what we're inviting to, right? We either have our own accountability group, or we're going to invite to our uplines accountability group. Or if there's a coaching sneak peek, you can invite to a coaching sneak peek. Or if you're running a free group for your clients, you can invite to that. Those are all invites, right? So start with a number that's comfortable with you. I did 5 invites a day. And I went through my friends and family. We call them your warm market. I went through people that I thought would want to join me. I invited my sisters and my cousins and my aunts and my friends from high school, and like all of these people that I know. I invited them first because they already knew me. So I didn't have to have them trust me. They already knew who I was. So that's who I started with. I started with my warm market, and I chose a number that, because I was doing this part-time, because I had a full-time job, I had to pick a number that I could do consistently every day. I could do 5 invites consistently every day. I had enough time for 5 invites. I really did. Right? Like I could sit on the toilet and do 5 invites on the toilet. There's enough. I've never done that, but I could, because it doesn't take that long. So you could do 5 invites a day. And that's what I was comfortable with. Then I built it to 10. Now, guys, I do 15 invites a day. That's it. 15 invites. I do 10 challenge group invites and 5 coach invites every single day, like clockwork. And guess how many of those people ghost me? Probably all of them on some days. Probably all of them 14 times I invite them. That's okay. If you don't tell me no, leave me alone, I'm gonna keep inviting you because maybe you're watching me and maybe you're interested, right? So I'm gonna keep inviting you until you say, leave me alone. I don't want to do this. And even then I might ask you why. Like I might say, why? Because you don't know. Sometimes people have a reason, but you can answer to that, right? Sometimes people say to me, well, I don't have any time. I'm like, oh yes, let's talk about time. I love that one. I could talk about that one forever. Sometimes you just don't know what people's, and they might, when you tell them there are 10-minute workouts, guys, you have access to 10-minute workouts. And they're like, oh, really? Yep. You're running short on time. Throw a 10-minute workout on. At least you're moving, right? So they would never, if I didn't ask them why, they would never have that piece of information. They wouldn't know. So I'm always open to just, and I wasn't initially, again, like I used to be like, oh, okay, you don't want to, okay, bye. And I never invited that person again. I just took it. I was like, okay. I did that for the longest time. But I found that that wasn't serving me. And, you know, a lot of the people who are on my team, 2 of them are on this call, I probably asked them 1,000 times. And then they finally said yes when it was right. Actually, 3 of them are on this call. But when it was right for them. But if I didn't keep asking them, then they would never know it was right for them. And I would never know it was right for them. Yeah, I did, Marie. I did. You were a gym goer. You were a CrossFitter. So be comfortable with the number of invites that you do, and make sure you can do that number consistently over time, right? You don't want to throw 50 invites out there one day and then be like, okay, I'm done for the month. You want to be doing it consistently every day, right? Because you're going to get that habit. And this is going to be my time that I'm going to work my business, and you're going to develop those healthy habits. But if you pick an unreasonable number that you just can't fit in, then you can't do it consistently. And consistency really honestly is the key to this business. So choose a number that's comfortable for you and then challenge yourself. When that number gets too easy, up it. Go from 5 to 7, go from 7 to 10, right? In the process of inviting people, you're going to get no's and you're going to get objections. That is normal. I prefer no to being ghosted. 1001%. I say go for now. Because if there's a no, you can dive a little bit deeper. You can ask some questions. Or if it's like a flat out no, you can just mark them off your list. I'm not going to waste any more time. I get it. You don't want to do it. It's not for everybody. No problem. I will scratch them off my list and I won't waste any more time following up with them. So no is okay. I prefer getting a no to being ghosted, but know that lots of people are going to say no, and they might say no 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And that's okay. People might ghost you for 6 months. Then they come to you out of the blue because remember, you're showing up every day. Then they might come to you out of the blue and say, okay, I'm ready now. And you're like, I forgot about you. So you never know. If you have objections, screenshot the objection and throw it in our September new coach chat, because one of the coaches on there has probably gotten that objection and been able to navigate through it. So screenshot it and post it in there if you're not sure how to respond, because we can help you with that conversation, or send it to your upline coach if you're not comfortable. But I would encourage you to put it in the September coach chat, because chances are somebody else got that objection too. And then we can help you navigate through some possible responses to that objection. Yeah, it's super helpful. When I started doing that, I was like, oh my goodness, because Shalene would say something and I'd be like, oh, I never thought of that. That's brilliant, right? So screenshot, throw it in there. Someone else has probably gotten that objection before, and that will help, right? Or if someone asks for more information, you have no idea what to say, throw it in the chat and be like, somebody asked for more information. I have no idea what to say to them. Throw that in the chat too, because if you're asking it, chances are somebody else is asking it. That's what the chat is there for. Some of us have been doing this a while, so we've been through all those objections and we've been through the rude comments. I've only gotten 2, I think, or 3 rude comments. I think I handled them okay, but if you get those comments too, drop them in the chat, because we can help you navigate through that. Okay. So don't be afraid of objections. You're going to get them, and that's okay. Here's another thing that I tell my coaches. So when you're working through your warm market, you also want to be starting conversations with people. So you want to be following, getting to know new people on social media. Initially, I thought that was creepy. I was not comfortable reaching out to strangers at all. I had my own little bubble, and I was like, I'm just going to keep asking these same people over and over and over again, because I don't feel comfortable reaching out to strangers. It just didn't feel right to me. And it was because my mindset was off about it. It was because I really looked at it as, I'm trying to sell these people something. Until I stepped outside of that and realized that I have an opportunity that can really help people, I've been helped. And it really didn't start to happen until last year, until I lost my brother. And I realized how important this community was to me, not only the coaching community, but also my accountability group, how important that was to me to help me get through it, that I realized that I really needed to be sharing this with other people, and not just people I knew, like strangers, because you don't know what people are going through in their own lives. They might need it more than you even realize they need it. So it's a matter of opening up your mind in that way. So start those connections with new people, but find people that you feel like you can connect with. Okay, so I would look for dance moms for a while, because my daughter dances competitively. I can relate to dance moms. I would look for corporate professionals, because I'm a lawyer and I can relate to those people. I was searching people who have rescue dogs, because I have a rescue dog. So I can relate to those people, so that when I'm following their stories, because I look and they've got pictures of them with their rescue dog, I can legitimately copy it, or comment on their photos, because it is relatable. I can say, oh my God, your dog is the cutest ever, because I love dogs. It's not strange for me. I would say that on a friend's post. So why not say it on their post? People are on social media for a reason, especially if their account isn't private. They want people looking at their account. They want you connecting with them. I don't have a private account. I want people looking at my account. I want them to be commenting on my pictures, right? Yeah, Kara, I do hashtag searches. And really it's just a matter of finding your hashtag. There's a lot of training in the training on finding your people. First, you have to establish who your avatar is. Who are you speaking to? What kind of people can you relate to? You can search places, so places you've visited, places, if you have kids, places you and your kids frequent, vacation spots. I've searched like the Lake House restaurant because I love that restaurant. So if there are other people posting that they've been at that restaurant, I'm like, I'm all over that because I love that restaurant. Or like Flying Squirrel in Hamilton. I've searched Flying Squirrel because I take my kids there all the time. You can find your people if they're frequenting the same places that you go to, right? So you can search places, you can search hashtags. Sometimes I will look through accounts like I call them target accounts. So the Birds Papaya is one I love. Rachel Hollis, Cat and Nat, because she's a mom. I find my target accounts, and then you can probably find people in there that you can relate to. So if I see a picture of like a mom with her daughter in a dance costume, I'm like, yep, let me look at her account. I can probably relate to her. So I'm looking for people that I could be friends with. So that makes it less weird to me. Um, so that's how I find those people. But start that now. If I can encourage you to do anything, start doing that now. Because the biggest thing that I hear from coaches that causes them to quit is they say, I don't have anybody else to invite. And then they stop because they're like, I don't have anybody else to invite. But if you start to build your warm market now and you start to make friends with these people, I've made friends, they haven't joined me, but I have friends on social media that I've made. One of them wished my son a happy birthday. She's like, happy birthday from Iowa, Landon. She's not even a challenger, but we connected in a way that like, she actually says it's weird to me that I can be friends with somebody so far away on social media. And that makes me feel good. And I don't think she'll ever be a challenger, but I'm going to stay friends with her and I support her. Like she's got her own little business thing going on now and I'm supporting her. Like these she's become a friend all because I just stepped outside of my comfort zone and I was willing to talk to somebody. And she said no multiple times. I don't think she'll ever join me, but I'm still going to be her friend. So there's a lot of power in that, especially if you're like me. I was very introverted growing up. I didn't have a lot of friends. So I have all these friends now, and it feels so good to say that I have all of these people who are supporting me. Like she supports me. She shouts me out. She gives me the clapping hands emoji when I do my workout videos. Like it just feels really good. So I would encourage you above anything to start doing that now. So try to, if you can, like do 10 to 20 a day if you can. I do 10. I make 10 connections a day because again, I'm working in pockets of time. That's comfortable for me. So I do one post. I try to do 15 to 20 stories a day, but remember 8 of those stories is just me talking in the morning making my hustle juice. So like that's 8 of my 20. But I try to do 10 to 20 stories a day, one post, 15 invites and 10 connections. And then I try to follow 20 people on Instagram, just follow them. Maybe they follow me back. Perfect. Guess what? At some point they're probably getting an invite because if I followed them, it's because I want them to be my friend. And 10 Facebook friends. And again, I try to look for people that I have mutual connections with on Facebook because it's a little bit more private than Instagram. So then that way, if they write back to me and say, do I know you? I can say, actually, yeah, we have these friends in common. So I thought maybe we could connect. And I'm okay with saying that now because I've stepped outside of my comfort zone. And again, I've made all these new friends and it feels really good to have that sort of base of people. And not everybody has joined me and that's okay. But I also have a ton of people that I can follow up with and a ton of people that I can go back to every time a new program comes out and I want them to join me. I'm going to invite them again and say, maybe you weren't ready last time. Maybe you're ready now. Like I really, really love these programs. I really, really want you to join me, right? You're here because you probably really like these programs or you're really passionate about fitness or you're really passionate about helping people. That's why you're all sitting here. So use the opportunities that you have to be able to reach as many people as possible because you might be reaching out to somebody like me who maybe lost somebody and maybe needs a support group because my family didn't cut it because they lost their cousin, brother, friend. Like I couldn't turn to those people. I needed other people. I needed a community of people, and I had them, and I'm grateful. So think about that. Think about the people that you really could be reaching if you just step out of your comfort zone and do these things. Fit it in your time. You don't have to be superheroes. Fit it in your time. It'll grow as it gets easier. Just stay as consistent as possible. If that's 2 invites a day, I would encourage you to try to do 5. But if it's 2 invites a day, but you're doing that 2 invites consistently every single day, then there's power in that too. So hopefully that was helpful, you guys. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. I made notes because otherwise I stray. I think I covered everything. But if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or unmute yourself, and I'm happy to answer them. There's no bad questions, guys. I was taught that in law school. There are no bad questions. Otherwise, how are you all feeling? Like, I know, Julia, you're like brand new. This is probably like, oh my goodness, this is overwhelming. But if you, like, are you feeling, for some of the other ones who have been in the chat for a couple of weeks now, are you feeling a little bit more comfortable? Do you know what you're inviting to? Like, do you have any questions about that? Have you been through the training? How are you finding the training? Is it overwhelming? Is it the information okay? Like, because that's helpful for us too. If there's something in the training that's going way over your head, that will help us to know too, so that we know how to improve the training. No problem, Christine. Okay, so yeah, connections. So when I do my follows, I literally go to a target account and I look for people whose like profile picture might be interesting to me, right? Like I said, if I see a woman with like a girl in a dance costume, I'm like, yes. And I'll just go follow as quickly as I possibly can. And sometimes I do that several times a day. Like it might be 5 people at a time over the course of the day. I actually try to do it first thing in the morning during my morning routine, because it's the hardest part for me is connecting, because I still feel a little bit weird about it. I do it, but I can invite like a boss. I'll invite my 80-year-old grandmother. I don't care, because I know I have something that is really important, that I'm really passionate about, that I can share with people. So I have no problem inviting. Connections are still really hard for me. So I follow all those people. And then if they have a public account, if I follow them, they look like somebody that I can really connect with, and they have a public account, when I go to make my connections in your Instagram, when you go to the people that you're following, let me see if I can show you guys. If you go to your following in Instagram and you click on where it says sort by default, there will be 2 arrows. If you click on that, it will say date followed latest, date followed earliest. If you click latest, those 20 people you just followed are going to show up. So if they're public, they're going to show up there. I find the people that I'm like, yep, okay, I can connect with you. Yep, okay, I can connect with you. I go to their page. If there are things if there are pictures that I can really connect with, then yep, that's my person. I'm going to connect with you. I will usually like 5 photos, comment on 2, and follow them. I've already followed them, but I'll follow them. I will like 5 of their photos and I will comment on 2 of them. That's my connection. If they like my comment, or if they respond to my comment, or if they follow me back, I make a note of their name, because that means something drew them to me too, especially if they follow me. So I make a note of their name. That list of names becomes my pool of people that I invite from, because they acknowledged that I connected with them. They either followed me back, responded to my comment, I've started a conversation right in the feed, I haven't even touched their DMs yet, right in the feed. And that's how I connect with them. Then when I invite them, then I'm going to jump into their DMs. Or I'll watch their stories. Sometimes, oh my gosh, I have the funnest time watching people's stories. I was following this one lady. She didn't join me. She said, no, I still watch her stories because her kids are the funniest. There was one story where she has chickens on her property, and her kid put the chickens in this little plastic cart thing with wheels that he was carting around their yard. He had the chickens in there, but you didn't know when you were watching the story, he had the chickens in there. Anyway, he gets to where he wants to be and he picks up the chickens and throws them. And I'm like, oh my God, she's posting this in her stories. And the kids laughing, like just, and this is the funniest thing. And all of her stories are like that. And they make me laugh every single day. But I'm going to keep following her because she makes me laugh every day, even though she said no to me. And I told her, like, please post more stories of your kids because they make me laugh every day. Maybe someday she'll join me. I don't know. But she makes me laugh, so I keep watching her stories. So I've been in her DMs a million times just commenting on her stories. So you can do that too. You can, give a little heart emoji on a story or clapping hands on a story. And that's a connection too, because you're connecting with something that person posted in their stories that resonated with you. And you're basically saying to them, you resonate with me. Let's be friends in a non-creepy way. What do I invite them to? So I touched on that a little bit, Christine, but what you want to know is if you're running your own accountability group, you can invite them to your group. And usually I will do a program. So I'm doing MM100, but I have a lot of challengers who are doing MBF and some who are doing 10 rounds. So right now I'm inviting to a Choose Your Path challenge group. And then I put them in my accountability group so that they have that feeling of accountability and support. And it's just, they can choose a program that fits within their time schedule, because I'm usually connecting with people who are busy and don't have a ton of time. Maybe they can't do 80-day obsession because they don't have an hour a day. So I allow them to choose the path that will fit within their lifestyle and their time constraints. So that's what I'm inviting to now. When 30-day breakaway launches, I'm going to invite to that. I'm going to invite people to join me on that new running program. So that's what I do, but I run my own group. So if you're Christine in Kiata's group and she's running something, I know she's doing 3-day refresh, invite to her 3-day refresh or invite to our coach sneak peek, right? So there's lots of things you can be inviting to. Okay, Brian, let me see her. Oh, it's the same thing. I call my challenge groups, I usually call it a challenge group if it's a program specific. This is just my verbiage. But if it's something that's like my widespread accountability group, my Fit Life group, the equivalent of Shalene and Jer's Stronger Together group, I have Fit Life. That's my accountability group that everybody gets put into, but everyone's doing programs that work for them in that group. If I'm running a specific program, like the BOD group for MBF, I'll call that a challenge group because everyone's doing the exact same program in that group. It's just the way I keep things straight in my head. But you can use whatever language you want. Some people, you say accountability and they're like, I don't need that. Maybe they like the idea of a challenge. Sometimes you switch your invites up. I had to do that because I was calling it a virtual boot camp and people thought that they had to log on to Zoom and that didn't work for them. So I had to change that language because they were all thinking that I was running these Zoom workouts and they were like, no, that doesn't work for me because I can't meet the times that you guys work out. And I'm like, no, that's not what it is. So sometimes you just have to change, like one word can make a massive difference in an invite in the responses that you get. So for 30-day breakaway, I'm dropping hints right now, Sarah. So I posted, I think this morning, that I needed help with like outdoor, because we're in Canada and running outside is going to be a nightmare. So I'm like, okay, who knows what kind of clothes I have to wear to run, because like if it were me, I would just wear like a t-shirt and a sweater and my big bulky winter coat. And clearly that's not going to be fitting. So what do I need to run outside? So I'm just dropping hints that there's this new program coming and it's going to be a running program and I don't know anything about running, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to run outside and suck it up and it's going to suck. But I'm dropping hints right now. I will probably start inviting closer to the end of September. I find that if I start to invite to program specific groups too early, people get lost, like they lose interest. So I try to be as close to the day that I'm starting my group as possible, like usually 2 weeks out. That's just, it works for me, but I will drop hints between now and then that it's coming. Like you're going to rock that one, Sarah. So if you know people that will join you right away and they're going to be in, you may as well like kind of start talking to them now. Like if you have people that you're like, yes, these people, because you're a runner, if you know people will do it right away, you may as well kind of get them locked in now. Also, anybody that purchases a challenge group this month gets 50% off digital access or the accessories pack next month. So remember that too. So so for example, Julia, you just bought your challenge pack. If you decide you want to do the running program next month, it's going to be on like VIP access. So anytime a new program comes out, you have to pay for that particular program. It's not another challenge pack. You don't have to buy another $186 challenge pack. There are different options for you. You can wait until it comes out in the spring, or you can do it early. I always purchase it and do it early so that I've got lots of time to talk to people about it. And then I'll probably do it again in the spring when it's warm out. But you can get digital access, which is just access to the program, or you can get the accessories pack. So it will have access to the running program and whatever accessories come with it. This one has resistance loops, and it looks like it has like a pouch for your phone, which is really cool. But whoever bought a challenge pack this month gets 50% off next month. So if you've enrolled people this month, you want to reach out to all those people to join you in your running program because they're going to get 50% off. So it's going to be really cheap in terms of like just the digital, even if they don't want the accessories, just the digital access, it'll be cheap for them. So keep that in mind too. Was that helpful? Okay. Any other questions, guys? These are really good questions. I love these calls. I could do this all day long, honestly. Okay. If you guys have questions, drop them in the September chat because that's what it's there for. Don't try to do it on your own or navigate through it on your own, because sometimes that can be overwhelming too. And then you sit and you doubt yourself and you question yourself, and you may as well just throw it in the chat. Because dollars to donuts, somebody else has gone through it. I've seen some stuff over the past 2 years. So chances are someone's gone through it and they could probably give you a really quick answer or direct you to where you can find the answer that you need. There's no point reinventing the wheel. We're all here to kind of direct you and guide you. And I asked Shalene and Jared 1,000,001 questions when I first started. So ask all the questions. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I had fun on these calls. Have a great night. And for my girls who are in Fit Life, we have our team call tonight. Otherwise, we will hopefully see you guys all on the Fam Jam call on Wednesday. Bye, guys.